Hey guys, thought I'd talk to you guys here while I'm walking. So I was watching a Frank Kern video. It's about 51 minutes long, I think. It's on Facebook. It's a sponsored ad. It's been following me the last 2-3 days, or at least coming up in my feed. Maybe not following me, but I like Frank Kern. I've been watching his stuff for a long time. He's a smart guy. He's a student of Dan Kennedy. And kind of maybe for the first time I did the save a video on Facebook where it shows under the watch on your app, on the watch icon on the bottom next to the marketplace and your other stuff down there. So I got halfway through it. I'm going to watch the other half maybe in a little bit here. Maybe on this walk I might. He's really an expert in copywriting, in my opinion. And a lot of that stems from Dan Kennedy as well. I mean, he's done some great stuff. Partnerships with helping with the marketing with Tony Robbins with that money book that came out. And he's just really about the psychology of the person you're talking to. He's really about the headlines. He's really about the bullet points. I like that he gave some stats on the tripwire. He said, what we really have is a book funnel. He goes, I have a book where it's a little, I think it was $5 or $5.50 was Frank Kern's book. He said he spends $25 to sell it, right? $25 to sell the $5 book. Well, that would be called like a tripwire, where you're getting somebody in at a very low cost, very low risk. And the other thing too is another buddy of his is Dean Jackson, and he would, what was I going to say about it? They would tell you that that just writing a book makes you an authority, whether somebody's read it or not. And then he talks about pre-framing as well, which is kind of related to that, and just kind of giving people the impression that you're the expert before they even really start listening to all your stuff. Really smart stuff. It is typical, smart marketing, copywriting as well. He talks a lot about split testing. He talks about trying different ads. And that's for sure true. You got to try a lot of different ads on like Facebook and everything else. So I talk to my Facebook friends and experts. I'm a huge fan of split testing. I've been doing it forever, a couple decades. Facebook's like way bigger than that. I think framework and paradigms and perspectives supersede a lot of that split testing though. Because a lot of the split testing is just trying to get little 1%, 2% wins and stuff like that. So, for example, a lot of like internet marketers, they like focus on all the split testing, which I did, which is very tactical. It's very growth hacking like, and you're just like, how can I get a $5 book sold? Can I sell for $6? Can I sell for $7? Can I get it done for only $21 instead of $25? Sure, you're always trying to do that kind of stuff too, right? But at the same time, on a bigger level, on a bigger paradigm, you got to understand that, like, he's got 1,200 clients that he got from that, right? And that's, like, his big part of his business. And understand, too, that, like, in the bigger picture, I don't know what he charges those clients. It might be $5,000 a month. He's not charging them probably $200 a month. He's charging them quite a bit. And I would like to think, I would like to think that he's retaining them for 6 months to a year or 2 years. And for me, it's like whatever you're charging somebody $5,000 a month for, or $3,000 a month for 6 months, you've got to get really good and clear about what the value is that you're bringing. Because for them to be able to pay that, you're probably getting them 3 to 4 times that value every month that's coming in as cash flow. Otherwise, they're going to run out of money to pay you. And I don't hear him or other internet marketers talk about that very much. And that's kind of a big deal. More than the tactical split testing on the front end on Facebook, in my opinion. Because you really got to begin with the end in mind, right? And just kind of reverse engineer it. So what I've been able to see is I've been able to get paid results from marketing where people have success with leads. I've been able to show results where I could work with people and know people for years, because there's systems that just continue to work. They're traffic sources that continue to work. They're concepts that continue to work. They're headlines and markets and ways to buy houses. So, for example, credit repair. Credit repair's been around forever. Rent-to-own's been around forever. Contract for deed's been around forever. Those are different concepts that have been around, right? Those have been around forever. So that's important as well. He's making a comment in the video of, do you have to go buy fancy cars and get thousands of likes? And then he goes, well, I don't think you need to. People don't necessarily need to know who you are. So he has to address that issue in his marketplace for people learning internet marketing, because that's what they're wondering in their mind, right? He brings up Robert Collier's quote of, enter the conversation already going on in their mind, right? Really smart stuff. One of the better quotes out there. Dean Jackson talks about that a lot. Joe Polish talks about that a lot. They're also big copywriters, very well connected to Dan Kennedy as well. So I would highly recommend that. I would go check out that video if you can. It's a sponsored ad, so I don't know an easy way that you can watch it, but he's on his computer. It's a newer one of his ads. He brings up lots of good points. And you got to do a lot of testing, but you got to understand and you got to have some cash flow too. I mean, if you're going to go he said he's spending over 6 figures a month on advertising. And obviously, the majority of the people watching these videos of mine, I'm pretty sure, are probably not going to spend over 6 figures a month on advertising. And even if you spend $10,000 or $15,000 a month, you're going to have to get right on a smaller level. You're going to need to be able to work with that cash flow, because I talk to people in business all the time that you're looking at 3-month, 9-month, 1-year cycles from the time they're like talking to the prospect to the time that money comes in from insurance or banks or whatever. So you got to really understand how much money is going out before you ever see that money. So another thing he says too, and I forget the guy he got this from, I can't remember his name, but he mentions it a lot, and I've seen it go back almost 10 years as far as him talking about it, is he says you really want to do on your ads, you really want to say, this is what I got, this is what it'll do for you, this is what I think you should do next. And then he's definitely selling in his videos, and he's definitely giving you a lot of bullet points. And that's definitely one approach online to do that. You got to scale online at some point with the people online. I personally like last night I got together with some sharp investor type people, and they're just people who've been in business for 20, 30 years. And I like hanging out with those people because you get a lot of good perspectives. And I find that the lifetime value of people that you really put the time into and get to know and like have something to offer and have good value, and they have businesses that have stood the test of time, there's no reason why people can't make $500,000 together, joint venture, over years, not necessarily in a month or anything like that, but there's no reason why they can't do that over years. A lot of the businesses I've seen that just make sense are related to real estate in any way. Could be, I've seen people have success in the management, I've seen people have success with rental properties, selling real estate, investing, education, restoration, storm damage. You know, we got some of them getting bigger into commercial real estate now, looking for good cash-on-cash returns and good cap rates. Some of us know some people that own a handful of restaurants. We were talking about a couple of them that own some restaurants, a handful of them. One of them's in the hard money business, on the side, as well as owning some bars. And it's just everybody's in a different aspect, but it's fun to talk around those people that have been in the business for a really long time, because they're just smart with business, they're smart with contracts, they're smart with negotiating, they're smart with profit margins, they know marketing, they know how to network, they know how to hire people on the bar situation, stuff like that. And there's a lifetime of learning from that, right? It's a lot more than just what's on the internet. So if you're in Minnesota and you want to connect some time and network with some of the people that I know in the business, let me know. I'd be happy to introduce you. I do some meetups every once in a while, some smaller ones. They're not usually like folding chairs and seminar type. They're more like get together for some beers and talk shop, but also talk just having fun too. It doesn't have to be all about business. But you kind of approach it that you're going to know these people for a long time. So we've spent a lot of these people, we've spent time just having fun on the boat on Minnetonka and stuff. And that's how we spend a lot of time. Financial planners as well. Just takes us out on the boat. We have 15 of us out there. We're just having a good time in the sun. Guys, girls, it's fun. The thing is you got to just enjoy what you're doing. You got to enjoy life. Got to enjoy business. These guys aren't like tactical, like sometimes the MLM guy. I'm not like saying anything bad about MLM. I'm just saying some of the newer ones in MLM that are just like, especially online, where they'll talk to you for 10 seconds and then they want to sell you something. These guys aren't like that. I mean, I've talked to financial planners who've had us out on boats 7, 8 times, 2 summers. Never even really sold what he does that much. It's just the right person at the right time. It makes sense. But they know it's a lot about relationship and trust and networks, referrals. Plus, you know, he wouldn't be able to do the same kind of marketing that Frank Kern does. I mean, he'd have too many regulations involved, you know. And what's cool about this crowdfunding thing we were talking about yesterday, and what I was talking about on video yesterday, is the crowdfunding thing has got a lot more lax regulations as far as the last few years compared to how they used to raise money. One of my good friends I've known since I first started in real estate was there, and he's known him for 15 years in real estate. He's in the raising money business. I'll introduce you to him sometime. We'll get him on the video when we get the live stream thing going. But, you know, he's, I think, talking to people on the oil thing right now, and he's also knows a lot about gold and mining and stuff. And knows a lot. He's decent at the raising money part. And our mutual friend that he's known for a long time, I've known him for a long time too. That guy's really good at raising money and relationships. He's about 41 now, and maybe he'll get on him. He kind of went over to Chicago. Maybe I'll get him on video at some point, but we hang out from time to time. Hung out at the Apple River a couple of years ago. You know, I saw him a couple, 2-3 months ago. I saw him, but I get to see him enough. But he's over in Chicago now, spending a lot of time in St. Paul. Right before that, though, St. Paul, Minnesota here. And he really got into it when he was 19, and he has flown around the world half the year, and he's developed some pretty solid relationships overseas. And I will just say that the people that he is very close to have a lot of money, and I'm not going to mention it on here because it's a lot, but they have access to it, but they're not all going to rent it in real estate. Not all going to put it into real estate. They're all going to put it to wherever they need to put their money, right? So the point I'm telling you all of that is, a lot of you out there want to get into real estate. A lot of you have an idea that you want to raise money for. And I'm just here to tell you that, like, I'm not going to be the one writing a check for it, but, like, I know people that do it. And they're in that business. They're in the business of, like the guys at Shark Tank. They're in the business to just write checks for good ideas. They're in the business to make money with their hard money, with their private money, and so forth. And if you guys have a concept you think should be utilized for crowdfunding, or you think you want to do something big in real estate in some way, or maybe you're just getting into real estate and maybe you just want to connect with a real estate agent. The point is I know different people in the business. A couple of them maybe I market for, a lot of them I don't. Well, we're just looking at the long run and how we can help each other out. And I just want to see people be successful, but I want to see them doing something that they like to do. Right? I hate to see it when they just go dump $20,000 to $100,000 on training online or somewhere, and then they don't make any of that money back. I'd hate to see that, because I personally think most of that information, a lot of the times when you're real excited and new, is you're not able to absorb most of it at the level that you're at, the paradigm that you're at, the perspective that you're at. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But yeah, I've been to some local real estate clubs. Those are really good. You'll get a lot more than just the info products. You'll get a lot of support from the community and the teams. I've known Mike Jackas since the beginning, before he was even in the club there. He's Minria. He's over there on probably pretty close to Roseville, Minneapolis though, I think. Huge club, does great. Real estate investors. Dan McCabe's got one down the road over here in Edina. He does a great job as well. Last time I went there a few months ago, he had 40 people there probably. A lot of familiar faces between the two. And if you want to learn about real estate, definitely make it to one of those clubs. MREIC or something like that on the Dan McCabe one. MNREIA, MNREIA, Minnesota Real Estate Investors Association. These are real estate clubs locally here in Minnesota, two of the bigger ones. They've both been around real estate for a really long time. Dan McCabe, I know, is around 20 years, I believe. Mike Jacka is probably up to about 26, 27 years that he's been in the business. Yeah, he's probably about 27 years. I've heard some. I've got mutual friends that were there in the beginning, and I want to say dates back to 1991 or 1993. Learned a lot of great stuff from the real estate club. Learned a lot about fixing and flipping houses. A lot of great people on the seminar circuit. Learned a lot of great stuff from how to buy rental properties. The haves and wants is one of the best parts. The networking is definitely one of the best parts. The haves and wants is where you say, like, you get up in front of everybody there on a microphone and say, these are the properties I have, or this is the property I have, and I want to sell it. It might be wholesaling real estate. And then the wants is just like, this is the kind of property I'm looking for, which makes a lot of sense as well. So I saw some people that went there for 2 years, every month for 2 years. My dad and I were pretty much probably the only one I can think of that were there for the entire first 5 years. Like every single month, like never missed a month. I missed 1 month, which was a repeat talk that had been done by Todd Grill before. Todd Grill's a good friend of mine. I actually invited him out last night. He was out of town. He talks about Roth IRAs. Him and I hang out from time to time, and he's a good guy. He's now the CEO of Counselor Realty, but he does a lot of Roth IRA stuff as well. He's fun to talk to. We'll get him out to one of these other meetings though when he's in town, and he's friends with a lot of the guys that I'm hanging around with as well. He used to be president of Minnesota Association of Realtors. Rob Maida's another one that I know a little bit that was as well. So you get some good perspectives from those guys from real estate and investing and so forth. And we'll get them out sometime. And then I'm trying to think of any other things I can mention. Todd's been out on the boat a couple times. He was out with Mike Jacka and stuff, financial planner and stuff out there. We had some good times. There's some other hard money lenders out there, and some of the other, even two of the main guys on the boats all those times were out with me last night. We were out at the Mall of America having a good time. So let's see, other than that, I will leave you guys. This started off as kind of a marketing thing, and then it kind of went into like real estate and networking. And I would just really emphasize building your real estate network. Really a good idea to do that. What I was going to say is the 5 years I put in monthly at the MNREIA, as I kind of did marketing for real estate on the back end for the last 10 years, as I was doing a lot of marketing stuff. I stayed in real estate, but I didn't really stay in the networking part of real estate. And a lot of people left the business, but it was cool how I was able to pick it back up again with the people that stayed in the business. And probably one of the things I'm most grateful for is just really looking at the long-term game, treating everyone right, adding value, networking, staying in the business, putting in that effort in the early days of all the networking. Because those relationships really age well, like fine wine, you know? And it's not apparent to you in the first 2 or 3 years. But by like the 9th year and the 10th year and the 15th year, it becomes pretty obvious that you're just like, wow, you don't really need to convince people. You don't really need to like impress them or anything. It's just like you can just hang out with them because you all have a mutual respect for each other because you've been in the business a long time and you got a lot of good stories and you've known each other a long time. and you're friends with other friends of theirs that you've known for a really long time, which there's a lot of trust. It's a big shortcut, so that's a big deal too. So yeah, if you're in Minnesota, let's connect sometime. There's actually another real estate club right down the road in Richfield. That's a good one too. Glenn runs that one, Glenn Williams. I hadn't seen him in like 10 or 12 years. I invited a couple of my friends over there, Brad and Steve Brown. Brad Goodham, Magic Brad. And we had been down there for, there's about 12, 13 people there. I saw my friend Rick Clayton, who I've known. He was friends with a lot of these other guys I'm mentioning. He was kind of an agent with them for a bit. I ran into a guy, and I can't even think of his name right now. I think it's Paul. And I hadn't seen him in like 10 years. And funny story is he's actually good friends with Rick Solano, who was the #3 super fan from the yesterday video. I don't think Rick's seen him in a long time either. Rick used to live in Richfield where I saw him. And so I got the number over to Rick, and Rick's going to connect with him. Hopefully, Rick, you're probably going to watch this replay. You hopefully connect with him. But he had been in real estate about 12 or 13 years, and he was kind of a part-time investor, but he kind of was there around the 2007, 2008 thing as well, and what we went through. But, you know, what's interesting is it's just fun to circle back at some of these RIAs and just see people you haven't seen in a long time, right? When I went to Dan McCabe's, the one 2 or 3 months ago, ran into a couple Davids, ran into, get the other guy's name right at the moment, but, oh man, he's on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, I haven't seen those guys in 8 to 12 years. So it was great to just see him again. Again, it was because I kind of got away from the networking. I was more doing behind the scenes with the marketing and just learning some different marketing angles. I was looking more for sustainability in a disruptive world, and it's kind of why I've arrived at this whole idea of disruptive demographics. I've seen it as a selling point. I've seen it as an advantage, really. I'm grateful that, you know, I've been self-employed 16 years and been around the internet for almost 23 years now. And that has allowed me the opportunity to go through, I've seen thousands of things come and go. Not quite as big as Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin might be here to stay, but I've seen a lot of stuff like that where people are like, oh man, it's on a smaller scale, but this stuff just comes and goes. There's just so much disruption that everything just keeps changing. But so that's really why I'm really interested to see how this whole Bitcoin thing plays out, as far as it gets adopted enough as a currency, and if all these big places actually do really start to, they accept it and they start to speed up the transactions. And the thing I was reading yesterday about $1 for the transaction seemed pretty good. It was a few more articles last night. One of them was about how do they arrive at the value on Bitcoin, and I think I shared that in the Facebook group. If you're not familiar with the Facebook group, it's at ronorr.co. I have that redirect over to the Facebook group so you can stay up to date on some of these videos as well as the articles. Because I've been posting quite a few articles in there. If you're wondering why I'm not looking at the video here, I'm walking down Bloomington here, and it's pretty busy, 5-6 lanes of traffic and stuff, and there's a lot of stoplights and stuff, and just looking out where I'm going and stuff, if you're ever wondering in the future. I think I see it as pretty efficient and with my time, pretty productive to focus on exercise, out walking, and doing these videos at the same time. Since I'm on here and I'm up to 24 minutes and it's going pretty well, I'm going to be ending this here in a minute or two. I want to tell you that I was thinking about it last night, the simplification, because we were talking about paid marketing and stuff with some of this other stuff. What's really so simple about what I'm doing, if you really just want to simplify the internet, back over the years, what everyone did is they're like, I need to get traffic. Like, I need to buy traffic. I need to build an opt-in page and get people to opt into it. And they're like, oh, should I do a video? Should I do an image? Should I do what kind of copy and all this kind of stuff? And just crossing the street here. So it was very like, if you want to think of it as linear like that, it was like, I need to get a bunch of traffic. I need to build an opt-in page. I need to get people over to my email list. I need to get an email list signed up. I need to create a video to send out to my email list. I'm really concerned about what kind of open rate I get and what kind of headline should I do and all that stuff. The thing about the open rates is there's a couple things you have to understand before you even have that conversation about open rates on email lists. I want to just back up a little bit here with the perspectives. I mean, there's some people that do some long emails with good copywriting there's some guys who've been around the business for a long time that do awesome with email, right? But social media moves way faster than email, right? I personally haven't used email much in like 4 years because it's just all spam. It's all notifications and garbage. Social media did a better job of that. It's because there's no company that manages all the email. There's 5 or 6 big ones, but with social media, like Facebook wants to make sure that they separate your notifications from email. It's just a better product now. The other thing about open rates too is your end goal isn't just open rates. I mean, you're not just trying to do like clickbait headlines and just trying to get people to open. You're trying to get the right people to open for the right reasons. Trying to pre-frame it right. And so, I mean, for example, if you want somebody to watch a 20-minute video and you send that out in an email, you might need to mention that there's a 20-minute video you're sending them to in the headline. Because you might have a bunch of people opening your headline that says, you might say like, well, one quick note I want to tell you quick. This is really important. And then everybody that opens is like, oh, I thought it was just going to be a minute. You're just going to tell me something for a minute. Because that was the headline you led me in with. And then you give them a long video. And it's like, well, they're not going to watch it. Right? So the open rate, I mean, you can play around with open rates a lot with headlines and stuff. That's not the main thing. But the point is so say you're sending the videos and you're like, okay, well, this many people opened it and this many people watched the video. That's a smart strategy, right? And you have autoresponders and they keep watching your videos, they get to know you, you build up trust, you build up relationship. That's smart. But what I'm saying is think about what I said, everything I said before the video part of it. It was build up an email list, a subscriber list, get an opt-in page. And what is an opt-in page? An opt-in page is really people that know they're signing up to a list, but what makes them sign up to the list? Well, they want to know that they can unsubscribe easily. They want to, and just remember that because I'm going to come back to it in a second, but unsubscribe real easily, and then they can see what kind of stuff they're going to get on their email list to see if it's relevant, right? That was point 2. And the third point is that what's the frequency of what they're going to receive? A lot of email experts will tell you should tell them all of that before you even get them to sign up. Well, here's my point, is social media does all of that. It already does all of that. All you got to do is go to their profile and you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I see the frequency. I see how often people post stuff. I can see all their different content right now. I know if it's a good fit. I know if it's relevant, right? So that's how you know if it's like a good fit or whatever. And then people already have built trust with the social networks. They know it's really easy to unsubscribe or unfollow somebody from social networks. So that makes sense, right? So it's a better product than email, in my opinion. There's some guys that have been around for a really long time. They're really smart, and they've built up huge email lists. And they do like really long copy, a lot of autoresponders. They're really good with copywriting. And I agree with that. That makes sense for a lot of them people when they have all of it figured out. So then the last part I was going to say, going back, we talked about the subscriber social media, is that the first part is the traffic, right? Well, traffic comes from search engine optimization. It comes from Google. It comes from Yahoo. It comes from Bing. I just searched last night, with the exception of LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn, if you use Pulse, it like links, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Grant Cardone stuff. That stuff like shows in the search engines. But for the most part, I couldn't find LinkedIn posts in the search engines very well. But I checked everything else. I checked Facebook and YouTube and like Instagram and Periscope, and all of those videos were ranking in the search engines pretty well. The Instagram was more like websites that were a little bit, they seemed a little, well, they're dynamic, they seemed more static, but they like were kind of scrapers, just kind of scraping the information from Instagram. But my point is like they are sending traffic. Like the work you're doing is sending traffic. So my point is that back 5 minutes ago when I said, well, people used to say, well, I need a bunch of traffic. I need like a bunch of subscribers. I need to create an opt-in page. I need to think about it a lot. And then I need to like eventually get people on an email list and eventually email them and get an open rate and think about all this stuff. And then I have to like send them out videos and stuff. And it's like, well, if you just like create a bunch of videos on the social networks and you have good headlines with hashtags and you keep creating that content, short and long, by creating a lot of it, you're putting out all the keywords out there. So you're constantly getting traffic from the search engines, right? And then people know how to subscribe and unsubscribe and follow and unfollow social networks. That's happening all the time with all these social networks. So you're just creating them on all these social networks. So you're building up the email list of all these social networks, right? And then all your videos that you're doing are helping build the traffic. But the longer videos, like this is probably one of the longer ones I've done, is building the relationships and the trust. And that works more for the higher lifetime value of a customer. So you have to look at the bigger picture at some point. I mean, if you're helping somebody for $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and you do that for like 5 years, I think that's like $170,000 or something for a lifetime value customer. So I'm not trying to add the ad spend in there, but you don't need a lot of those customers and clients. And I mean, if you're looking at it for the long term like that, I mean, you can put some time into just getting to know people as friends anyways, right? Business friends, because you got to have a community in your life anyways. So I think I'm going to end it here for now. I think I'm going to save this and actually put it into Facebook, since it ended up pretty good, and I wanted to end up in Facebook. So the Facebook group's over at ronorr.co, and thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you later.